Please read us a story, old bear. We'll all gather round. Dear old bear, sit in your favorite chair. We'll sit all around, dear old bear.
It was a fine, warm summer's day, and Bramwell Brown and his friends were out exploring the garden shed. "There's so much to play with," said Little Bear. "I don't think we'll ever want to go back to the house." Bramwell found a heap of old newspapers and was tearing them into sheets. "What are you doing?" asked Little Bear. "Watch carefully," said Bramwell, "and I'll show you." He folded one of the pieces of paper in half, and then in half again. After a few more folds, he held up a little paper boat. "That's lovely," said Little Bear, taking it from Bramwell to have a closer look. "If we had lots, we could race them down the stream." "That would be fun," said Rabbit. "Could you make us all one, please, Bramwell?" So Bramwell made a whole fleet of paper boats, one for each of the other toys. "Let's try one out in Sailor's Bath," he suggested. Sailor was having a wonderful time. He'd filled an old tin bath with water from the hose and was floating round and round in his little wooden boat. "Ahoy there!" he called when the others popped their heads over the side. "Come and have a sail. It's fun in here." "Can we try one of our boats in your bath?" asked Rabbit. "Of course," said Sailor. "There's plenty of room for two." "We've all got a boat," said Little Bear. "We're going to race them in a minute, down the stream." "Like this," said Rabbit, lowering his boat into the water and giving it a push. The little boat sailed well at first. Then they all watched sadly as it slowly went soggy and fell over in the water. "Oh no!" cried Little Bear. "They don't work. What can we do?" But Bramwell was already examining his paper boat. "Actually," he said thoughtfully, "I think the reason they're no good in water is that they aren't boats at all. They're hats. Pirate hats." "But we can't have a boat race with hats," muttered Duck. "Of course we can," said Bramwell. "We wear the pirate hats and build ourselves a boat." "A boat each," cried Little Bear, pulling his hat on over his ears. "Well, we could build 2 boats," said Bramwell, "and Sailor could sail his own. Then we'd have 3. That's enough for a race." Everyone thought this sounded fun, and soon they were all back in the shed looking for boat-building materials. Little Bear found a piece of bicycle wheel. He tried to make it into a boat shape, but it didn't seem to want to be one. Jolly and Sailor discovered a box full of corks. Sailor was sure they would float well, but they couldn't think of how to join them together. Rabbit found a little wooden basket behind the door. "This is a good boat shape," he said, pulling it out to have a closer look. Little Bear peered into the basket too. At the bottom was an old tea-cloth. "And this," he said, lifting it out, "could be our sail. All we need now is a mast, and we'll have our boat." Meanwhile, Bramwell and Duck were over in the corner trying to find something useful, but were not having much luck. "We don't really need a mast with Jolly's long neck," said Bramwell. "He could hold our sail." "What sail?" said Duck, looking around. Bramwell produced an umbrella. "This sail might work," he said. "If Jolly holds it up, the wind will catch it and blow us along." "We haven't got a boat yet," said Duck. Bramwell had noticed Jolly. He'd found a pile of sticks and with Sailor's help was tying them together side by side. "What are you doing?" asked Bramwell. "I'm making us a raft," said Jolly proudly. "It'll be very strong when it's finished." "It'll need to be," muttered Duck, "if we're all going to float on it. I don't want to get my feet wet." Very soon, All 3 boats were ready and waiting by the door of the shed. Rabbit and Little Bear were the first to set off, pulling their little wooden basket boat out of the shed and down the path towards the stream. Bramwell, Jolly and Duck followed behind, towing their raft with the umbrella sail. While nobody was looking, Sailor had tied his little boat to Bramwell's and was having a free ride all the way down the path. At last, the 3 little boats arrived at the bank of the stream. "Ready to launch your boats," cried Bramwell. "Hats on." "I haven't got a pirate hat," said Rabbit. "Mine sank when it was trying to be a boat." "Never mind, Rabbit," said Little Bear. "You can borrow mine when we're afloat. Just give the boat a push." Rabbit gave the boat a big push and was just about to jump in when a big gust of wind filled the sail and Little Bear set off down the stream. "Wait for me!" cried Rabbit, running along the bank. The same gust of wind had caught Jolly's umbrella sail, and their raft didn't even need a push. It sped off from the bank with Bramwell, Duck and Jolly on board, and Sailor, who hadn't had time to untie his boat, trailing along behind. Rabbit was still running along beside Little Bear. "Pull down the sail," he puffed. "Then you'll slow down." Little Bear pulled. "It's stuck," he shouted. "I'll climb up and unhook it." Little Bear began to scramble up the mast. He was so busy climbing that he didn't notice the bridge. "Look out!" cried Rabbit, but he was too late. The mast struck the bridge and the boat fell over in the water. Little Bear flew from the top of the mast, bounced off Jolly's umbrella and landed in Bramwell's outstretched paws. "Phew, that was lucky," gasped Little Bear as Bramwell stood him down on the deck of the raft. "Not for us," moaned Duck, looking at the water round his feet. "This raft was only meant for 3, and there are 4 on here now." They floated under the bridge, but the raft was sinking lower and lower in the water. "Help!" shouted Little Bear. "We're going to sink. Where's Rabbit? He was here a minute ago." "Help!" shouted Bramwell, Jolly and Duck together. Then they heard a familiar sound. Looking up, they saw the little wooden aeroplane, with Rabbit as pilot, flying towards them. "Hooray!" they cried. "Rabbit to the rescue!" The plane flew round in a big circle, then low down over the stream. "Catch this!" shouted Rabbit, "and I'll tow you to the bank." He took the end of a long coil of rope and threw it down to Bramwell. Bramwell just managed to catch it before it slipped into the water, and he tied it to the front of the raft. Just as Sailor, at last, managed to untie his boat from the bank. With the other end of the towing rope tied to the plane, Rabbit began to pull the sinking raft slowly to the bank. Sailor sailed on down the stream. When everyone was safe and on dry land, Rabbit dropped his end of the rope. He flew round in a circle and landed the little plane on the grass, right in front of the other toys. He climbed down and bounded over to where they were waiting. "Oh, Rabbit," cried Little Bear, full of admiration, "you were wonderful." "You saved us just in time," said Jolly in a slightly wobbly voice. "It was a pity nobody won the race," muttered Duck. Just then, Sailor came paddling his boat back up the stream. "I won the race," he said. "I'm the only one left with a boat." "Well done, Sailor," said Jolly. "In future, I think we'll leave all the sailing to you." "And I'll make Rabbit a new hat," laughed Bramwell. "But this one will be a pilot's hat, not a pirate's hat."